Okay, I'd like to call the Ponderay Hospital District meeting to order.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman. Can the chairman confirm to the board the existence of a public document known or identified as the agreement between BGH and POHD?
That will be brought up at an executive session.
Okay. Can the chairman confirm that the retainer agreement between POHD and the Davila Law Group states that POHD will receive monthly invoices for counseling services?
I can't confirm or deny that. I don't have memory of that exactly.
Do you have that agreement?
I do.
I make a motion to continue the meeting as stated on the agenda.
Okay, the first thing is the meeting agenda, which you have in front of you, sent to you.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. It's improperly stated by Trustee Woodward.
I move to continue the meeting as stated on the agenda.
Discussion?
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, can you confirm that the Legal Affairs Committee was established to consider immediate issues of legal nature, or that it was designed to keep information from certain POHD trustees? If not, why is the Legal Affairs Committee report not on the agenda?
I call the question.
All in favor of continuing on the agenda meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, the next, second thing is our meeting agenda, which you have in front of you. I need to ask if there are any amendments to that agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Can you confirm that the agenda item identified as other has been on the agenda item in prior POHD meetings for many years and is synonymous for new business?
It has not been on for many years. It was added only in the last year, and it is no longer on there because we have such a long agenda, we don't have time to question everybody's issues.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, can you confirm that you received an email in January of 2019 requesting the agenda item from Trustee Rose stating, quote, "I believe every penny of Attorney Smith's invoice was well earned, and I ask that you eagerly honor his most appropriate services to POHD by faithfully executing payment of this December 31st, 2018 invoice after placing it on the January 2019 board meeting agenda, which has not happened. And the chairman chose not to add this to the agenda, defying the body consideration of discussion." Can you confirm that, Mr.
I
Chairman?
can confirm that in October, according to our meeting minutes, we decided we would not hire any other legal people to be involved in our meeting nor pay them. And that was decided and voted on in the October minutes, and that's why it's not on there.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, with the consideration of public being here, which has never been the case, and obviously some type of interest, I move to amend the agenda to add 3 minutes of public comment, as most public meetings in the county and the school board do allow. And it appears there's a couple people here, I don't know if they wish to speak, but 3 minutes seems to be appropriate for transparency purposes.
I have a motion, do I have a second? We don't have a second, so that motion's denied.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this month's regular meeting and every future agenda of the regular meeting include either new business or other prior to adjournment. At this time, in POHD business activities and with any and all information exchange that may be potentially crucial in preventing any form of legal liability or culpability of POHD. That would be the emergency. That would be the emergency.
I think you're out of order, because we're discussing whether or not to approve this meeting agenda. And I think there was a motion to approve the meeting agenda, is that correct?
I think you,
And a second?
point of order, you're talking out of order. I have a motion on the floor
And there was a second, correct? And
Yeah.
there is no second, so we're moving on.
Are you the chairman?
Well, I think we're moving on.
You've made a motion, is there a second for his motion currently? That motion then denied. Let's move on, please, so we get some of this meeting done.
Okay, I move to amend the agenda to include emergency insertion of payment to attorney invoices to both Davila Law Group and the law offices of Sean P. Smith.
Is there a second for that? No, so that's denied.
I move to amend the agenda to include emergency assertion of agreement, a public document drafted by BGH attorney Kim Stanger for the benefit of BGH's income statement.
Is there a second? Denied?
I move to amend the
approve the meeting
agenda, I move the amended agenda to include emergency
Actually,
assertion.
I was already moving to approve this meeting agenda. Thank you.
Can we have a second?
Out of order, point of order, out of
Can I have a
order.
second on the meeting agenda?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Nay.
Now is when you come to the amended agenda, Dan, in point of the way we're running the meeting here.
Shall I repeat all of my motions?
No, I don't want to repeat any of them. Do you have any more?
I move to amend the agenda to include emergency assertion, executive session under Idaho Code Title 742046B, disciplining.
Do I have a
Action
second?
item discussion regarding termination of counsel.
Do I have a second? That's denied, Dan. Can we move along so that we can get this meeting going, please? And the people that are here can understand we're not just putting up this farce that you're making us go through right now.
I appreciate your comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to make, that we're being videotaped. Does everybody know that? Is there anybody who has a problem with that? Is there any legal, that we have to be worried about with that, attorney? Anything we have to, is there any reason not to allow that? We have not allowed that in the past in this hospital, and I've been through multiple meetings in 30 years, and they often include discipline actions, they include patients, and this meeting here is probably gonna have some tense moments in it. Whether I want that on video or not is a decision we all have to make. If there's nobody that objects to that, I will not pursue that any further.
I'm not sure I understand the chairman's intent. Could you restate the chairman's intent, please?
My intention is to whether anybody has a problem with being videotaped.
I don't.
I'm asking the group, not you, Dan.
Am I part of the group?
I don't know that. You're not acting like part of the group. Meeting of the minutes, the third thing we gotta do is we have to approve our minutes that came from December 28th. Can I have a motion to do that, please?
So,
Point of information, Mr. Chairman. Who drafted the December 18, 2018 minutes?
Our secretary drafted it.
Does the POHD secretary create an electronic record of meeting minutes until the minutes are confirmed in the next month's meeting?
She has a draft copy that it has to be looked at, yes.
The question was, does she create an electronic record between meetings so that she has an accurate reflection of what occurred in the meeting? I believe you can ask her.
Sharon, do you?
You like record your name?
Yes, until you get, okay, thank you. Point of information, Mr. Chairman, is the POHD secretary the BGH Inc., executive secretary to the CEO of BGH Inc., and BGH Inc., board of directors secretary, that's having an overwhelming duty and loyalty to BGH Inc., and not necessarily POHD.
No.
I move that the POHD secretary be replaced by an individual not intimately related to BGH Inc. Activities, as was similarly done last month with the replacement of the BGH Inc. auditor.
You can make only one motion, Dan.
It is one motion.
No, it isn't. you're including something that happened in the past, leave it out of there.
I move that POHD secretary be replaced by an individual not intimately related to BGH Inc.
Is there a second for that? That's denied.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular POHD meeting held December 18th, 2018.
Can I have a second on that? For the approval?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next, fourth thing on here is that we need to go into an executive session because of potential litigation that was placed into the Sandpoint ADB newspaper.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman. Is there any civil suit or criminal action known and existing against the POHD board, or is this a discussion of a guilty conscience?
It's a potential litigation that
Is-
allows us to have an executive session.
How is the potential litigation to something that does not exist?
I make a motion to move to go into executive session under Idaho Code 74-206-1F regarding threatened litigation and criminal allegations by Ponderay Hospital District Trustee Dan Rose, and to exclude Dan Rose from the executive session so the board can speak freely and receive legal advice from POHD counsel without waiving attorney-client privilege for these issues on which Dan Rose may be adverse.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman. The motion is improper in that it is asking to remove.
Can I have a second?
Jim seconded it.
Okay.
Yes, it's discussion. The motion is improper in that it's asking to remove a trustee from his elected duties. I believe the only one that can do that is a judge, and I would like to have counsel weigh in on that.
I call the question.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that passes. So we need to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I asked to ask counsel who the board has hired to
Actually,
represent.
we're in executive session, Chair, with all due respect, so I believe that's just the board members excluding Dan at this time. We're legally in executive session now. I made a motion, we're in executive session.
And it passed, so the people that are not on this board need to leave.
Mr. Chairman, I will say to you and this board right now, as advice of counsel, what you're doing is creating a crime. And I want counsel for POHD to weigh in on what is going on at this moment.
We're in executive session, Chair, I'm sorry.
You're illegally in executive session.
We're in executive session.
You're illegally in executive
That's
session.
right. We are
Counsel, can you
legally
weigh in, please? You stop being silent and earn your money.
So if you'll all leave, we can discuss this in executive session. We can't discuss this not in an executive session. Does that make sense to everybody?
No.
The only reason we can discuss this because of the allegation against us is in executive session. That's what we're doing. We can't do anything else since we're in that now.
There's no complaint on the table, and there's no reason to remove an elected official without a judicial order. Am I correct, attorney?
Will you please leave, everybody?
No,
so
I
we
want the
can talk
attorney to
about
answer
this,
the question.
So we can talk about this.
I want the attorney, no,
The
Mr. Woodward,
The chair of the committee has asked everybody to leave.
illegally.
He's asked everybody to leave. This is an executive session. Everybody needs to leave. Everyone needs to leave. It's an executive session.
Can a citizen just say something? I'll leave.
It's an executive session at this point.
At this point, we're in executive session. We can't say anything to it, but we are. So I want to read all the Ponderay Hospital District open meeting back to business. We have our executive session, and in taking the fact, we need to have a resolution from that we discussed in the executive session. Can you shut that door, please?
Okay. I move to make the following resolution. The POHD board being duly assembled and a quorum present hereby resolves and declares that Mr. Rose is an adverse party with regard to the following issues for the following reasons. Number one, POHD is unable to determine whether Mr. Rose's actions and statements are conducted in his official or individual capacity. Number two, Mr. Rose refers to himself as complainant, complainant trustee, taxpayer, constituent, taxpayer, and taxpayer complainant when referring to the same subject matter. Number three, Mr. Rose makes identical simultaneous requests to POHD both in his official and individual capacity. Number four, Mr. Rose has hired an attorney, Sean P. Smith, to represent him in his capacity as POHD trustee and his individual capacity. Number five, Sean P. Smith has publicly stated that he has a legal foundation that takes on government. Number six, Mr. Rose and his counsel, Sean P. Smith, have publicly threatened to sue and take action against POHD and POHD trustees and agents in their official and individual capacity for various professional, civil, and criminal allegations, including but not limited to A, alleged constitutional violations by the board related to its funding of Bonner General Hospital, B, open meeting laws, C, public records law, D, misuse of public monies, E, obstruction, F, obstructing a public officer in the discharge of the duties of public office, G, corruption, H, bribery, I, fraud, J, racketeering, K, civil RICO, L, application of trustees' duties, M, other violations of state and federal statutes, N, professional licensing requirements and ethical obligations, O, any resolution with the Office of the Attorney General of the State of Idaho, and P, any negotiation and or finalization of any contractual relations between POHD and BGH regarding the issues. Number seven, Mr. Rose and his attorney have taken an aggressive and adversarial position to the POHD board regarding the issues. Number eight, Mr. Rose is likely to bring litigation and continues to collect information to use in his threatened litigation. Therefore, we conclude that the issues involve pending litigation or controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated. Number nine, Mr. Rose is an adverse party. Number 10, the presence of Mr. Rose in executive sessions regarding the issues will prevent the board from receiving any legal advice from POHD counsel regarding the issues because he is adverse, and any such advice given in his presence would waive the attorney-client privilege. Accordingly, the board hereby resolves and declares that Mr. Rose henceforth shall not be included in any executive session which relates to or discusses the issues and shall be recused and sequestered therefrom. And furthermore, the board hereby declares henceforth that Tim Cochran or in his absence, Clark Casey shall be responsible for admonishing Mr. Rose to recuse and sequester himself as when appropriate in accordance with the above.
That's a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chairman, in the discussion, I just want to note that the content just read is not entirely accurate in its presentation, and I'll stop with that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the secretary to notice a hearing to file a judicial examination of the proposed resolution to the issues.
I need a second for that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
So an explanation of that, but the secretary will then be, we have to do some, according to state law, we have to jump through some hoops that include notification and publishing it in the paper and doing a few other things, but we have to have a timeline for that. So we are directing her to do that, and it takes at least 14 or 15 days to get that done. So before we can have another meeting regarding that, we have to get her to get these guidelines started. Then we will make a notice as to when that meeting will be. Because of the things we have done, we have scheduled an executive session for talking about the Attorney General's letter and talking about the prosecutor. And we would like to table both of those executive sessions since we can't talk about those with the above potential judicial confirmation needs to be done before we can go further in this regard. So I would like a motion to table executive sessions 6 and 7.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Okay.
Nay?
Point of clarification. Is it 5 and 6?
Did I say, it should be 5 and 6, I'm sorry. Okay, we are now down to number 7, which is public records. Does someone have a motion to make on submitting a request for public records?
Okay.
Go
I
ahead.
will, yeah. I move that POHD require that a request for public records be submitted to in writing on this or a substantially similar POHD form that provides the requester's name, mailing address, email address, and telephone number pursuant to the statute. I can pass a copy around if you guys like to look at that.
Public law, I don't need to read it public law again.
Yeah, just have to make sure you're following it, okay?
Are you- Hold on, is the chairman,
Everybody.
are you singling out anyone?
Everybody.
Yeah, okay, very well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the motion is that we will use this form that has been produced by the state and is being used by most of the district for public record requests. I need a second on this.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 8 is our tabled motions. We are in the process of trying to have our Pondere Hospital District's financial avenues discussed and reviewed by the Attorney General. And so we have had to table the monies that we have received for the last few months, since we don't know exactly what our legal avenues are. So I need someone to continue to table that money until we make decisions about what our role as a hospital district is.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman? Can the chairman identify whether the AG letter dated October 16, 2018 was first provided to each POHD trustee?
I want to know if it was provided.
When was it provided to each?
I don't know the exact date.
Does the POHD chairman or POHD council have any written document contradicting the AG's letter of October 16th, 2018?
I don't have any information to, at this time, talk to you. Dan, you need to understand that the letter may have left the Boise office on the 16th. When I personally got it is another avenue.
Mr. Chairman, can you inquire with council if council for POHD received that document on October 19th?
No.
You want to ask council before you speak for him?
No.
I'd like to move that we retable the motion that item number 8. Continue that on to the next one.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of continuing our tabling of the money that we received? for
Mr. Chairman,
Monterey Hospital
Mr. Chairman,
District?
I'd like to amend the motion. That it not be tabled and it be suspended.
I need
Or
a
tabled
second, I
indefinitely.
need a second for that. Is there a second? That motion then dies because there are lack of a second, so we're back to the original motion, we're tabling the money. All in favor say aye. Okay?
Aye.
I move to acknowledge receipt of any tax revenues that are received from Bonner County.
John, you wanna speak to that?
There was no check received in the month of January yet.
So, for your information, we get the money from the Bonner County Taxing District. They tend to be late in January, but they're being fairly late. If they don't hurry, we won't get it this month. We haven't received the check yet, so we don't have to do anything with that money.
Mr. Chairman, who keeps counting of the POHD ad valorem tax revenue funds received from the county?
You don't know who that is, and you've been on this board for how long?
I'm asking the chairman, can you please tell me who keeps the accounting of POHD ad valorem revenue funds received
I'll
from the county?
decline to answer that, please.
I move that the POHD treasurer be replaced by an individual not intimately related to BGH Inc.
The treasurer was elected by this board, and,
Is there a second for discussion?
is there any second? That motion dies for lack of second.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
All in favor say aye. I need a second. Need a second. All in favor say aye. This meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting will be in February. And there will be this special meeting when we get it, timetable.